The Audeze Maxwell came out a few years ago, so why review it in 2025? Well, I still think it's one of the best gaming headsets. In fact, it is one of my top picks in our Budget to Best video I did for gaming headsets. Nothing really comes close to the Audeze Maxwell when it comes to sound quality, purely sound quality. I often call it the audiophile's gaming headset because gaming headsets have a certain connotation. Maybe they don't stack up as well as high-end headphones. But I do think this is as close as you'll get. It does come with some caveats though, because it is a bit dated in some respects. But if you're looking for sound quality, this is what you want to get. First thing I want to cover is some of the design decisions of the Audeze Maxwell. So you have a aluminum headband here that is flexible and durable. You got big bulky ear cups, and this is where a lot of the weight comes from because it's got to house those 90mm planar magnetic drivers which drive the sound. So that's kind of the compromise you have to make. It also has really good battery life, so it also has to house a big battery. But don't let that deter you from checking these out because while it is pretty heavy and is going to rest on your head a little bit heavier than other headsets, the very thick plushy ear pads do its job in terms of long-term comfort. So you can wear this for long sessions and I think you'll be all right. I was fine. One thing I don't necessarily love about this headset is the way it uses its headband. So if you look carefully at it, you'll see that there are specific notches on like a kind of fake leather headband. So it's not the most ideal in terms of adjusting for perfect fitment necessarily. And the notches are a bit tough to work around. You got to really like dig in there and pull these things out if you want to adjust them. But once they're in place, you'll be fine. This thing is built like a brick house, so you are gonna get good durability from this. And I like the design decision to not have gaudy branding all over it. It is a pretty sleek headset despite being bulky, so you're not gonna see any like RGB on this thing. It has a very understated look. You'll get the Audeze logo on the top of the headband, and that's pretty much it. I wanna go back to the ear pads a little bit because while you do get that thick, plushy ear pad for long-term comfort, it is wrapped in a leatherette, and I think that's important because it's good for noise isolation. You're not gonna get ANC on this thing, but good sound isolation will make up for that, especially for a closed back headset. While I prefer something like a velour for, to feel less sweaty, this is the right decision and it is pretty comfortable. I've worn these for 4 to 5 hour sessions and I was fine. And another reason why you're gonna be able to wear these long term is because battery life is really, really good on these things. They're rated to go up to about 80 hours tops, and I put these on a full charge, used them for a week, and I didn't even have to think about recharging them. So I would say it holds up in that regard. Another way in which the Audeze Maxwell isn't as sophisticated as other headsets that may have come out in recent years is that the software is a little bit primitive. It gets the job done, don't get me wrong. All you really need to do is tune the frequencies to your liking, set it and forget it. I don't really need anything else or fancy features on top of that. Although there are some headsets that do some really cool things, I think the simplicity is kind of nice with these. And when you're looking for pure sound quality, as you are with these, yeah, that's all you really need. I'm gonna go over the controls a little bit. You get game chat mix on the fly there. So that's a convenient feature if you are on like in-game voice chat, voice over IP, and then you have your volume wheel. And if you want to use these wired, you can also use a 3.5 aux cable with them. USB-C charging for fast charging. You get the microphone jack here as well, and the power button. And you also get a mute toggle on the left. I think it's the left. Yeah, the left ear cup has a mute toggle on here, which is not something I've seen in other headsets, but it has this tactile feel, so you can tell that you're pressing on it up and down if you want to mute your microphone. And that's pretty much it when it comes to controls. Nothing too crazy. Again, the design philosophy of this thing is to just keep it simple, and it shows in many regards. Now for the thing I've been alluding to this entire video is the sound quality. I can't pull you aside, give you these headphones and tell you to listen to something, right? So I'll do my best to explain what that experience is like. But what I can say is that you get a full audio experience that is balanced across all frequencies. One of the things I really like is its bass. Now, I went into the software and adjusted the frequencies a little bit, boosted the bass a little bit, brought down some of the mids, brought the highs up a little bit, and created a sound profile that really makes this headset sing. So that strong, punchy bass doesn't really drown out the other frequencies. In fact, it kind of lifts them up a little bit more. And the higher frequencies don't get crunchy as you go up to higher volumes. A lesser headset would have trouble with that, but not on the Audeze Maxwell. And if I'm spending $300, I sure hope it could do that. Now, how did I test this? I listened to a bunch of music on lossless files and to really get the most out of them, and everything sounds great. I listened to a lot of different genres, J-pop, punk rock, bass heavy hip hop, things like that. But when it comes to gaming, the thing I like about this is its positional audio. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I played a lot of Counter-Strike 2 to really test this out. Hearing gunfire from a certain direction or a certain distance, or footsteps going around the corner, even hearing enemies reloading their guns around the corner can really tip you off on when to make tactical decisions in a competitive game like Counter-Strike 2. I think that's a credit to its big drivers. It's able to separate those details in the audio experience. Moving on to something that's a little bit more casual, but not too casual, right, is Final Fantasy XIV. The reason why I bring this up is because I often call that game a busy audio experience. You have spells going off, you have battle cries, you have this incredible soundtrack going off at the same time. There's so much going on audio-wise. And playing that game with the Audeze Maxwell shows how good it's able at separating all of those details when you have all of that going on. And it's not even just about having clean frequencies, good bass, and making sure the highs don't get crunchy, whatever, but it's able to separate those things so you can hear those details as you're playing. Now, if you do get these for PS5, you will be able to use Tempest 3D audio. And I'm not a huge fan of virtual surround sound, but I do think it works in some cases. Tempest 3D audio on PlayStation is probably one of the more sophisticated implementations of 3D audio. You're able to take advantage of that with the Audeze Maxwell. You're not going to get the most accurate sound readings from that, so I don't suggest it for competitive games, but it does add to the immersion in certain cases. The last thing I want to touch on is the detachable microphone, and it's one of the better microphones for a gaming headset. It's not going to be like a standalone microphone you get from like Audio-Technica or Elgato, but if you are communicating in games, specifically on console, through your microphone on your headset, I think this is one of the best ones. Specifically because of its noise isolation. I think it's very good at blocking out outside noise as you're talking. I tested this by recording on Audacity, talking into the microphone while typing on a loud mechanical keyboard, and it's able to separate those sounds quite easily. So if you are gaming and talking to your friends and you don't want outside noise to be seeping in, definitely check these out. All that said, I know that $300 is a big investment, especially for a gaming headset. But if you are looking for something closer to the audiophile experience that you would get from expensive studio-grade headphones, this is going to be the closest thing to that. Again, it's not the most sophisticated headset out there. Newer ones have fancy features, more robust software and all that. But if you're looking for long-term comfort and if you want audio quality that is unmatched, Audeze Maxwell is the way to go. If you want to take a look at more options when it comes to gaming headsets, you can check out our budget to best video from earlier this year and see what else we recommend in terms of headsets. We have a bunch of other peripherals covered with budget to best, so keep on the lookout for that. And let us know in the comments if you want more tech reviews on video. And for everything else, stick with IGN.